Hey, if you're studying in New Zealand or even just thinking about it, you've got to hear this. There's been a major change to the rules that could really impact your work life and your bank account. We're breaking down the brand new 25-hour work rule for international students and what it all means for you.
So what's the magic number? It's 25. That is the new maximum number of hours you can work each week while you're studying. It's a change that's all about giving you a better balance between your classes, your job, and, actually having a life.
Yeah, that's a pretty big jump from the old 20-hour limit. Think about it. Those extra 5 hours every single week can make a huge difference. Maybe that's less financial stress, or maybe it's more time to get some real experience with a local Kiwi company.
Okay, so a 5-hour increase. That's the headline. But let's really dig into the specifics of this new rule, which officially kicked in on November 3rd, 2025. We're going to look at why they even made this change and what it really means for you day to day.
So you might be asking, why now? Well, it's not just some random decision. This is actually part of a much bigger strategy New Zealand has to become a top spot for international students. By making it a little easier to work while you study, the country stays competitive with places like Australia or Canada. It's all about attracting talented people like you.
All right, now for the most important question, right? Who actually gets to take advantage of these extra hours? This part is crucial, so let's break down exactly who is covered by this new policy.
And the good news is it applies to a lot of students. If you're at a university or a polytech, you're in. If you're an older high school student in year 12 or 13, you're also likely covered. Same goes if you're here on a study abroad program or for many English language courses. And it also helps create a more consistent policy for master's and PhD students who already had unlimited work rights.
Okay, listen up. This is super important for our younger viewers. If you're in year 12 or 13, this isn't automatic. You absolutely still need to get written permission from your parents or legal guardian and from your school. So make sure you get all that paperwork sorted out before you start job hunting.
And hey, it's not just about the students themselves. The 25-hour rule also extends to some family members. We're talking about dependent children on visitor visas who are in the process of getting residency, and even some folks on skilled migrant visas. It's really about supporting the whole family unit.
Okay, so you've figured out you're eligible. Awesome. Now what? How do you actually get those extra 5 hours added to your visa? Well, the process is a little different depending on when your visa was actually granted.
Let's start with the easy one. If you got your student visa on or after November 3rd, 2025, you're golden. Seriously, you don't have to do a thing. The new 25-hour work condition is already built right in.
But what if your visa was issued before that date, and it still says 20 hours? No worries. You just need to apply for something called a variation of conditions. It's all done online, and it's pretty straightforward. Just check when your visa was issued, make sure you're on the right website, fill out the form, and pay the fee.
Now this part can be a little tricky, so pay attention. Immigration New Zealand has 2 different online platforms. If your visa was issued before August 18, 2025, you'll need to use the older legacy system. If it was issued on or after that date, you'll use the newer enhanced online system.
And of course, there's a fee involved. To apply for that variation of conditions, it's going to cost you 325 New Zealand dollars. You'll have to weigh that cost against what you could potentially earn with those extra hours. Now, this is a really, really important rule to remember. You can work more, but the type of work is still strict. You cannot be self-employed. So, no freelancing or working as an independent contractor. You have to be a proper employee with an official employment agreement.
So that's the nuts and bolts of it. But let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture here. Why is this all happening now? And just how many people does it actually affect?
Get this. When this policy was announced, there were nearly 41,000 student visa holders with work rights in New Zealand. That's a lot of people who are potentially impacted by this 5-hour increase. It just shows what a big deal this is for the whole international student community.
And this chart tells a really interesting story. See, about 3/4 of those students have visas that are expiring before March 2026 anyway. And for a lot of them, it probably makes more sense to just wait until they renew their visa to get the new hours, instead of paying that extra fee right now.
And I've got some fantastic news for everyone. Something that isn't changing. You can still work full-time during your scheduled school holidays. That's right, things like the big Christmas and New Year break. That's a huge benefit that is staying exactly the same.
Finally, let's take a quick peek at what's on the horizon. This 25-hour rule isn't the end of the story. The government is already looking at other changes to make that journey from studying to working in New Zealand even better.
Now, these aren't set in stone just yet, but officials are exploring things like a new short-term work visa for certain vocational graduates. And they're also trying to find ways to make the whole visa application process a lot smoother and faster. It all signals a real commitment to students.
And really, it all boils down to this. This statement from the New Zealand government pretty much says it all. The goal is to create better study-to-work transition pathways. It's all about making that leap from the classroom to the workforce just a little bit easier.
So there you have it. That's the lowdown on New Zealand's new 25-hour work rule. At the end of the day, this is all about opening up more opportunities for you. So the only real question left is, how are you going to use them to build your future here?